So the last video on this topic was a complete failure, so I gotta reshoot it, but for everyone that already seen the first video, I'm gonna just go over the story of how I came to this conclusion, not the actual conclusion itself, so this way you won't be seeing the same stuff twice. But anyways, the idea is, so say I'm running competition, typically you run low recoil rounds. Now what if I were to load the second to last round in the magazine with something that's a couple hundred feet per second faster? This way, once I hit that round, I'll be like, pop, pop, boom! Now I know that there's a round in the chamber, but my magazine is empty. So without keeping track of my round count, I know it's time to change magazines. Or say in a shotgun, I ran just standard double-aught buck, and then the second to last round, I put a light recoil round in there. So it's like, boom, boom, and then pow. The bad guy isn't going to know the difference, but I'll know the difference from how the shotgun feels, and I'll know at that point, hey, I need to take cover. I have one round left in the pipe. I need to get some ammunition inside of that. Or say like a Ruger 10/22, the second to last round I put with a CCI mini mag, and then the rest of the magazine's all just, Remington Thunderbolt or something like that. So I have an audible difference when I'm on my last shot, because I don't have a last round bolt hold open. If you're not counting your shots or you don't put a marker in there, at some point you're going to pull up on your target and it'll go click. Not really that big of a deal, but it's a cool way to keep track of high capacity magazines. Or what if I loaded the entire magazine with CCI mini mags, but the second to last round I just put like a Remington Thunderbolt in there, or a Marlin 60. The second to last round I put either a higher powered round or a lower powered round in there, so I know when it's empty out of ammunition, and then I have to start using it as a club. Now, where did this idea come from? Oh, the reason I broke it down and I did the idea first this time, because of my last video, it's something like 60% of the audience dropped off at 5 minutes. I don't get to the point until 7 minutes. Only 2,000 people out of 11,000 people made it to 7 minutes and 30 seconds where I actually get to the point of the last video, because everybody thinks that I'm trying to side with Caleb. Like, you can just go through the comment section in that video and it's stupid obvious that over half the comments, they didn't finish watching the video. A lot of my replies were like, dude, why don't you watch the video and find out what it's about before you comment? And then they'll be like, oh, blah, 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 you're just trying to back up Caleb. It's wrong of you to go against Paul Harold. And I'm like, just watch the video, please. I promise you it'll be worth your time. But anyways, I can't get them to watch the video, so that's why I'm doing this video. Because I really want this idea to get out there, because if I were to promote this idea, I'd have the mob after me. This idea is absurd for anybody but Paul Harold to promote. If I were to promote this idea without him promoting it first, which if he promotes it first, I will literally call it the PH load and just pretend like it's completely his idea, I'm going to have CPS show up at my house trying to take my kids away because they don't think I'm a responsible parent for coming up with some absurd idea like that. So anyway, how this came about. This goes all the way back to the game Metal Gear Solid. On that game, you had a machine gun. The last 3 rounds, I believe, were tracer ammunition. So when you were playing the game, you didn't have to watch your round count. You just paid attention to what you were doing. And then if your gun started shooting tracers, you reloaded. It was a cool concept. Now, the next time this came up was from a Vietnam vet. This guy was terrible. He used logic fallacies constantly to try to make a point. Like, oh, you should do this, and I'm right about this, because I'm a Vietnam vet special operator. And he wouldn't make points, he would make logic fallacies. And then just, because he made that logic fallacy, what he said is correct. Well, anyways, this guy said in Vietnam, he would load the bottom of his M16 magazine with like 2 or 3 tracers. So if he's seen the tracers, he knew, oh, get under cover real quick, I'm out of ammo. But I never gave it any weight because, like I said, he used logic fallacies. This guy even went as far to say that one of the cast members in the movie Platoon was playing him. He liked the sauce, he drank a bit too much. So like I said, I never gave any sort of thought to it. So these were the first 2 times it came up. So life progresses on. The next time was the girl. So there's this girl I had met on a social media platform. We winded up trading Snapchats and we'd send pictures back and forth. And she taught me a lot of cool things, like how to decipher military time. So once you're above 1,200 hours, realistically what you're doing is you're minusing 12 from the number, and that's what actual time it is in American. That gets confusing for a lot of people. It's slow to do. It gives you a headache. What she said to do is, so instead of minusing 12 from 19, just pretend like the 1 doesn't exist and minus 2 from 9. That gives you 7. Much faster. So anytime you see a 1 in front of the number, you just pretend it's not there. And then you minus 2 from that number. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm like, so what about when you get into like 2,000 hours and farther? She's like, well, what you do with that is pretend every 2 is a 1, and then you just minus 2. So, say you got 2,400 hours, we're going to pretend that 2 is a 1, so that's 1,400 hours, minus 2, that's midnight, 12 o'clock. Very simple to do. Anyway, in one of the pictures she had sent me, in the background there was a saw, M249. And that brought up the whole concept of tracer ammunition. I'm like, I kind of get it, but can you please explain to me what is the point of tracer ammunition? Why would you want to draw a straight line back to your position? And she broke it down to me like this. Number 1, it increases the fear factor. Yes, it's pretty freaking scary having rounds flying over your head, but when you have that tracer in there and you can see exactly how close they are, it makes you duck, and then I can have my forces maneuver on that position. Number 2, if my machine gunner is shooting somewhere I don't want him to be, I have a visual reference and I can be like, hey, like 10 degrees right, shoot there. And then I can make sure he's shooting where I want him to shoot. The next reason, third reason, there's a lot of machine guns, well, I shouldn't say a lot. There's machine guns in the military that are belt fed, that have different cyclet rates, they have different ammunition boxes. Like, from what I understand, she says that her machine gunners are supposed to say a phrase in their head like, die mother effer die, and that's how long they should be holding the trigger, or get some, and then let off the trigger. Well, trying to keep track of how much ammunition they shot by, the sound of it, or how long they were holding the trigger, or blah, 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 because of all the different cyclet rates and stuff, it's really tough. So as long as they didn't screw with their belt, it will be loaded. Every 5 shots is a tracer. So, for example, she's like, I know the M249 has a 200 round belt. That's 40 tracers. And that takes so long to reload. It's important for me to keep track of how much ammunition's going out of there, so like if he starts getting low on ammunition, I can strategize around it. So what I do is I pay attention to the tracers. If he just shot 20 tracers, I know he's about halfway through his belt. So I need to start thinking about, okay, he's going to be reloading very soon here. What should I do about it? Or say they're on the 50, they got a 100 round belt. If he just shot 5 tracers, that's 25 rounds in. If he just shot 10 tracers, now he's about halfway through his belt. If he shot 15 tracers, he's getting dangerously low on ammo. I need to address that. So anyway, that brought up the tracers again, which kept that burning in the back of my mind. Then I did my Caltech video, and I really want to like the KSG. But that firearm is incredibly inefficient. And I was just thinking, like, how can I make that thing work? Because I want to like that shotgun. But it's impossible to keep track of the ammunition because you got 2 different tubes. And then you got to switch over between tubes. I wish there was an easier way. And then the first idea, I'm like, well, maybe I could put like cuts in the top of the tubes. And then I'd have a visual reference to what my ammunition level is. But I'm like, no, that'd be horrible. Because I'd have to break it off my shoulder and look over, which is inefficient. Plus then, if I were to ever eat shit, like go down in some sand or something like that, I just filled my magazine tube full of crap. The cutting little slots is a horrible idea that should never be done. How else can I do this without totally taking the shotgun, redesigning it, and making it auto switch between the tubes? Because everybody that shoots the KSG, whenever I watch them, they're like bang, 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 and then they drop the hammer on a dry cylinder. Then they're like, okay, flip it over, flip the switch, then bang, 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 bang. And you want to know about that before that happens. Because you don't want to actually be like, holy crap, click. Oh no. And then be stuck at that position. I'm like, well, there's got to be a way. At that exact moment, I was watching Paul Harrell's video. He was talking about counting the shots. I'm like, yeah, that's all great in theory and all, but I don't have a shot counter implanted in my eye like you do. I went to a competition, and I shot my handgun, and I'd switch magazines between stages, and there was more than one occasion I'd go to shoot at a target, and I'd have a slide lock back. And I'm like, crap. Because ideally, you'd like, all right, so say I went through this little stage, now I got to go to the next one. In between that stage, I'd switch mags, and I'd always lose track of ammo, which is probably why I don't have trophies and Paul Harrell does. Anyway, so I'm watching that, and in that exact same video, he's shooting a 22, and he shoots it, and he's like, I don't know if you heard that in the audio, but that round went off light. And that just got the wheels turning. I'm like, well, what if, say in the KSG, the second to last round, I made it more powerful or less powerful than all the rest of the ammunition? So I'd be shooting bang, 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 and then I'd feel an audible difference, or I'd hear an audible difference, and I'd feel a difference in the recoil. I know to reach under and switch over the tubes, and I never actually run on a dry cylinder. And then, as I'm topping off in that, good to go. Or say on a normal shotgun, if I have the second to last round different than all the rest, ideally, yeah, I'll keep that thing topped off. But should that one discharge, I know I'm in trouble, and I need to take cover. I'm like, well, that's a great idea. But there's no way at all I could throw that on YouTube without just having a shit storm of hate comments. How can I get this out there without actually getting it out there as my idea? I was watching the Paul Harrell video. I'm like, well, what if I fabricate this story saying I believe that's what he's doing, and get enough people on board that that's what they believe he's doing? They'll blow up his comment section. He'll make a video about this. Then it will be mainstream. I can just call it the PH load or the Paul Harrell load, and then I'd be able to promote it. Because then I wouldn't be promoting something of mine that I would have to defend. I'd be promoting something of his. Which would be easy, because then if everybody gave me crap, I could just send a link to the video where he tested it, and I'd be clean and clear. The bait and switch. So that's what I did. But like I said, apparently just having him in your thumbnail, because I tried different titles of the videos, I tried moving things around, it doesn't matter. 1, they assume that I'm taking Caleb's side. 2, they assume I hate Paul Harrell or I hate his videos. 3, they don't watch the video. They see him in the thumbnail. They watch maybe a minute or 2. I can see this on the analytics. Jump to a conclusion, and then hammer down in the comments. But anyway, if you'd like to watch any of my other videos, links up here. I'll have this to the original Paul Harrell video in case you haven't seen it yet. If you'd like to help support the channel, I got my Patreon right here. I also have affiliate links in the description. Even if you don't buy what the link is for, just clicking on that link and buying shit you were going to buy off Amazon anyway, I get a kickback for it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.